early startup employees end up having a very close bonding with the founders and start believing in the idea at a level which they otherwise are. It's difficult to relate to what a company is building if you're in a big company. But at the same time, startups are also a challenging place to be, because employees who are looking for well-settled processes and being taken care of do at times find the chaos extremely intimidating. So if there certain type of people thrive in startups, people who are able to perform well under chaotic situations, people who are able to stretch themselves. That doesn't mean more work, but just stretch themselves with the idea, the passion for the idea that the founders are building. And it also means that the founders have a lot of responsibility to ensure that the first 50, 100 employees that they bring on board feel equally committed to what the founders are building, because no founder, 1, 2 or 3 can really take the startup forward on their own if their employees are not as committed. So people looking for a job in a startup first need to think of it not as a job and start saying, if you're looking for the startup experience, go work for a startup, because then that is probably the closest you can get to how it feels to run a startup, what it takes to run a startup and build a startup. So if you're looking to start up, that's a great place to go and take experience in. If you're looking for work experience, generally in a domain, I would still say go work for a big company for a few years, and that's going to add a lot of domain understanding and how to work with multiple functions, multidisciplinary teams, goal orientation. All of that is something that big corporates can teach very well. So I don't think it's like one way or the other, but if you're if you have an entrepreneurial bent of mind, startups are a great place to. Every fund or angel has a different thinking as to what they want to invest in. The reason why we see a lot of technology, it's not like other startups are not getting funding. It's just that in seed stage and angel stage, if you specifically look at that stage of funding, right, there is only so much money that an angel has or a seed fund has. And in that much money, you need to take the startup to the next logical stage of funding or growth, right? And that's something that is achievable in technology, technology-based startups much easier. They require lesser capital to build. The costs of starting up and growing, building a business in technology, the costs are every year only coming down. So one is just the cost aspect. The other part is the time it takes to scale. If something catches on in a technology-based startup, you can, geographical limitations are not there. The technology can be consumed at any point. Every new set of customers that you add in your business, you're not going to have to specifically create infra for them. So just the scalability of a startup and the limited capital that technology startups take to build relative to traditional sectors make it more interesting for angel and seed investors. At the same time, the traditional sectors continue to see a lot of funding. It's not like they're not seeing funding. But the amount of funding it takes to build those businesses is significant, and that's why angels and seed funds typically, I think, stay away.